Hey, everybody. This is Sunday. No, this isn't. But it is Sunday, January 6th, 2019.
Wow.
I'm Eric from longboxreview.com, and this is Breaking Late News with my good buddy, Travis. Hey, Travis, how you doing?
Hey, not too bad. Not too bad. Another year.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
How's it been so far, these first 6 days?
Comic book wise, not too bad. That weird week between Christmas and I don't know, with your books like and whatnot. Right. I got 3 books, but I'm wondering how many of them were like books that just got delayed, because I can't imagine that like the publishers planned on putting the books out in that week. But I did get 3 books. One of them was fantastic. One of them was Fantastic Four, and I just can't imagine that Marvel planned to have it come out then. Maybe I just got it late. Maybe it got shipped to me late. I don't know. But
is that the wedding issue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've dropped that book.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I
thought about it.
I don't care. That's my problem. I
know, right?
Not to get sidetracked, because this has something to do with news. but this whole beginning of this new Fantastic Four is written, I would assume it's written as if I had been a longtime Fantastic Four reader, and I'm just thankful as all could be that Fantastic Four is back. I am not a longtime Fantastic Four reader. I've read little bits and pieces here and there, or I've read the weird stuff like By My Fraction or whatever. So for me, I'm not deeply invested in any of these characters. I need to figure out a way to be invested in them, and this wasn't any kind of an investment. So this whole wedding was supposed to be a big deal. I get weddings are a big deal. I get that, but I don't care about this wedding. This would be like being invited to my wife's remotely random person that she knows at work, cousins getting married, and I went to the wedding. Why did I go?
So what you're telling me, Travis, is that you don't have a romantic bone in your body.
That is not true. If it would have been something that I cared about, then it'd be different.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you don't care about Ben Grimm's happiness?
No, I don't.
Wow.
Why? Why would I? The book hasn't given me the first 3 issues or 4 issues, whatever it is, hasn't given me a reason to.
Dude, it's the Fantastic Four. You don't need a bunch of preamble, a bunch of setup for it. You already know these characters and what they're about.
Okay.
Well, that's probably a conversation for another episode. But
yeah.
So we are here to talk about the news in the comic book world for the last 2 months of 2018, November, December. Travis could not make our November monthly news talk, and that was okay, because there's really, despite how many things I put on our list, Travis, there really wasn't a whole lot going on, especially in December, which is, kind of par for the course. It's the holidays. You wouldn't expect a lot of comic book news to be coming out. So, it's probably a good thing that we were able to consolidate 2 months worth of discussion,
right?
In this episode. So, but I did want to, since we already started off on a tangent, I did want to touch on this because first, before we get into the news proper, because a rare event happened within the last week. Travis and I, along with our good buddy Greg, we all went to the movies together. Is this the first time that we all 3 went to the same movie together in decades?
Since high school, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably since no, never mind. I won't even say that.
Yeah. So it was New Year's Day, right? This last Tuesday. So yes. New Year's Day, I got this idea. Hey, if you, because I've been hearing great things about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie, and everybody that I follow on Twitter, people I'm listening to on other podcasts who have seen the movie, they are just talking up this movie like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And they kept, others were saying, you got to see this in the movie theater. and specifically, you should watch it in 3D. I'll talk about that in a second because I think we were, but we weren't watching it in 3D. So I sent an invite to Travis and like I said, our friend Greg, and both of you miraculously were able to go. I thought, well, that's the coolest thing ever. So we go to the movie, see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You were, I don't know if you are now. You were a huge Spider-Man fan.
Mhm.
Spider-Man was the two of the three first comics that got me into the hobby. To 4 decades now. Holy crap! 4 decades ago for me, to the point where I'm doing the show now. So, what'd you think, Travis? Let me ask you this: was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse a great Spider-Man movie? Or the greatest Spider-Man movie?
Well, first disclosure, I haven't seen all of the Spider-Man movies.
You don't need to.
Just to give you an idea of my opinion of some of the prior Spider-Man movies. It has to be the greatest Spider-Man movie, right?
Well, I think so.
I mean, yes. 100%.
So when I asked Greg that same question, he said, no, he said Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 movie was the greatest Spider-Man movie. And I totally understand why he would say that, because that is, to me, that is the best live action Spider-Man movie out of all of them. And I've seen all of them. I wish I hadn't seen all of them in some cases. That's not true. I enjoy aspects of every superhero movie that I go see.
Sure.
Some are just, better than others. But this animated Spider-Man movie, man, what a treat. You get your Peter Parker or Peter Parkers. You get Miles. You get Spider-Woman in the form of Gwen Stacy, or I guess she's Ghost Spider now, I guess, in the comics, right? Is that correct?
She's not Spider-Gwen, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, we refer to her as Spider-Gwen, of course, but I think in continuity, she's going by Ghost Spider now. I could be wrong about that.
Oh,
but
okay. Yeah, I don't know.
and of course, you get Spider-Ham.
Yes.
Come on, that's worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just so you get this wonderful. I mean, the movie. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here because I encourage people to go watch it. You get it's mostly told from the perspective of Miles Morales. Well, no, not mostly. It is. I mean, it starts off with another version of Spider-Man, but quickly moves into this is Miles's movie, and it was really cool to see him take the spotlight, and you get all these other Spider characters. These multiversal Spider characters, which I totally dig the whole multiverse aspects of comic books and superheroes in particular. And so it was just a treat to see all that stuff. And then how inventive the animation was, where there were certain parts of it where it looked like it really was watching a comic book come to life on the big screen. And I've said that before about other movies, live action superhero movies that you and I have seen. But this really was that. I just dug it. It was a great movie, and people should go watch it. I'm taking up all the airtime here. What were your thoughts on the movie, Travis?
Oh no, I mean I really enjoyed it. And I agree with you. Any statement prior saying this is like the comic book, no, not in comparison to this with the animation style that was used and whatnot, with the the hints at dots and stuff that's in it. No, I really enjoyed it. I don't know that I got as much out of it as I've seen some other people talking about it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I guess I left the theater pondering a lot of stuff about it. It was a great movie. Just the storyline and what they chose to tell your average viewer and not was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's deaths in it, for instance, and I find those interesting, and I get like I said, I get how that all works, but they don't tell the general audience that. And of course, they don't tell the general audience that because I think it would be confusing. The fact that this is a different universe, technically, right? I mean, it's not, it would not be considered in the comic books anyway. It's not considered the proper universe, right? So so for me as a comic book reader, I leave the theater milling that stuff over in my head going, that's interesting that they would, that's how they're doing it. But no, it was great. I mean, I'm on board for what's the next one? When do we get it?
I want another one like now.
yeah. So
it was that good.
Yeah, for sure.
And there was a couple sins. I'm gonna transition to the top news item, Travis, which is apropos because in the movie and boy, that it was kind of a punch to the gut, because Stan Lee made an appearance in this. Mm-hmm. And then they also did at the very end, they had a little card, dedicating the movie to Stan and Steve Ditko for their contributions creating Spider-Man. But yeah, it was just like, when Stan Lee showed up on that, this, considering that he died almost 2 months ago now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of got a little choked up about it, and I normally don't for things like that. But it's just, I don't know. It was. I guess I was surprised to see that he was in it. I don't know why. I didn't think he would be, because he was in everything, I guess I think we're going to see him in a few other movies as well. Before whatever they filmed, he or will film. Obviously he's not going to be around for. So, but anyway, I wanted to touch on this, and this is very old news, of course, but everybody in the comic book world knows this already, but you and I haven't talked about it. No. So I wanted to, and I've touched on a little bit on previous episodes of the show, but like I said, Stan Lee died almost 2 months ago. What were your thoughts about that, Travis, when you got that news?
Well, I mean, it's a time. I guess it's a time to reflect back on everything he did for comics. And I'm not the biggest Stan Lee fan for a number of reasons. Exploring, comic credit and who got credit for what and who really did what, sometimes would sour my opinion, of the guy, as far as, who he is lauded as being the mastermind behind all this stuff. And it, like I said, lots of times it feels like there were a lot of other people that were involved. But I still have to acknowledge what he added to comics. He added a lot to comics. If not in the true hard creating of a entire universe of characters that we all read and love, he at least was the showman to sell all of that stuff. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's an important part of it, because if that wasn't there, it doesn't matter if Ditko or Kirby or whoever is actually creating these things. If there isn't somebody to sell that, if there isn't somebody to put that out there for us, to actually make it something that we want to see, then we wouldn't have any of this stuff. So I mean, it's a big deal. There's clearly not going to be another Stan Lee. I mean, there won't be. I mean, no. Kind of a thing.
He definitely was one of a kind.
Right. And the nicest guy. I say his handlers aren't very nice, but it's in my prior experiences at cons. But he was always extremely gracious of all of his fans, and I mean, even to the end. And to me, that's awesome, because I could see where pretty easily at some point in your life you get tired of that. But he embraced all of that, and that's awesome.
Did you ever get to meet him, talk to him directly?
No. Me either. His handlers kind of made me not want to do that. The first con I went to, where they had him at the time, he was close to other stuff that was going on, other lines that we were in and whatnot, and you could see him. He was fairly close to where we were at the time. They didn't have that stuff separated that far, and people were possibly taking pictures or not taking pictures, and the handlers were right there, like wanting to take cameras from people, and you owe money. And I mean, it was
Wow.
nuts. Like I said, it wasn't a Stan thing. It was the people who were trying to manage his image and whatnot. One line for whatever I was in line for to get signed or to buy. I think it was something I was going to get signed, by a lowly comic book creator. Our line curved right next to, so it butted up next to Stan's place, and you could see. I mean, Stan was like 3 arms length away, and they just knew that we were stealing pictures or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, but no.
Yeah. I first saw Stan Lee live and in person in 1996 when the first and only time I went to the San Diego Comic-Con, and I think they had some video games or something there because Greg and I went. We had an opportunity to go,
right.
And then he was really interested in it was either video games or some sort of computer animation or something like that, and I just happened to be, with him, and I'm looking off to my right, and I see this entourage, all these people just kind of walking very quickly through this area, and in the middle of that is Stan Lee. I'm like, I tap Greg on the shoulder. I'm like, it's Stan Lee. So that's one memory that I'll always have. And then of course I saw him at one or two cons where he was. I think it was one of the Emerald City Comic Cons that he was at, where I actually went and went to his panel, and because I would just you got to go see the guy, you got to listen to him talk, and so I never actually got to one-on-one say hi or thank you or anything like that. So it's one of those things about these comic creators, especially the ones that are starting to get up there in age. I don't know. I want to at least go up and say thank you for your contributions, and I won't ever have that ability with Stan Lee. So it's sad, but the nice thing about the stuff that he and others that he worked with created is that stuff lives on,
right?
And we get to enjoy it, continue to enjoy it. Future generations get to discover and fall in love with this stuff too. So that's a very great legacy for Stan and others. So, all right, we got some comments here about this. So, Damien said, which I like this. My new thought on Lee is that he created the modern world of fandom that we live in. We are the true believers that he practically imagined into existence.
Oh, yeah, very good.
That's a very well put thought there, Damien. And Ghost Critic here says, that's what I've always said about Stan being the showman of Marvel. Without him, I doubt the likes of Kirby and Ditko would be the legends they are today. That's a good possibility. That's true. I mean, yeah, Lee sold this stuff and sold it very well.
Yep.
That's for sure. Yeah, and Ghost Creek also says that Ditko was a recluse, by choice, and so he's not as well known. So if it wasn't for Lee, probably Ditko would not be as known for what he is today. Yeah, right. Exactly. Damien, I don't know about this, Damien. I also think of him as the greatest editor in comics history. I have to ponder that one. I don't know. I want to say Julius Schwartz might make a run, have a run for that, but it's hard to say because Lee was such a showman. So anyway,
well, yeah.
Those are good thoughts, though. I hadn't thought about those particular angles. So thanks, guys. All right, let's move on with news. Some stuff from DC here. Before we get to the next thing, because that's really what I've been waiting 2 months to talk to Travis about this. But first, I thought this was interesting. They had we talked about this before about the whole Batwing issue with Travis. What's the name of the book? Batman. What's the name of the book in which the Batwing appeared?
Now I can't remember it. The Damned, right?
Batman the Damned, is that okay?
Yes.
Anyway, so we talked about that before. Obviously, it made an impression. I thought this was interesting because that was the first book under the DC's Black Label, Black Label imprint, and then that controversy happened, and we were told that, and Travis rolls his eyes. We were told that subsequent or future printings of that story will not feature what it featured in the first printing. And so then I think you and we talked this last time, Travis, about perhaps they were going to neuter the Black Label imprint. And then it came out after that the DC was expanding the list of books to be published under the imprint.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which also included, oddly enough, and I got this because I've been wanting a trade copy of this, All-Star Superman. That is not a book that I would associate with what I thought DC wanted to do with the Black Label imprint. So my question is, what the hell is that then now? Nothing? Is it just it's just a phrase now that they're
it's just a new little logo, right? To slap on the book. I can't see that it's any more than that. And whatever they choose to throw under it, they'll throw under it. So they can put Watchmen under it. They can reprevent under it. All-Star Superman. Whatever. They're just that's just a new place to republish it. I don't know if they think they're gonna get extra sales from the youngins that are coming up that are buying trades or comics, and with this new label and the infamous Batwang, that they think maybe they're going to get something out of one of these books or whatever. I don't know. I don't.
Well, it seems like perhaps this is their unless they'll quickly let that whole imprint labeling thing go away, given the controversy. But I think it looked like, based on the list of books, that this is basically their evergreen titles that they all they always sell and sell well. And so they're just putting under this Black Label thing to have a thing to put them under. I mean, they could have called it anything besides Black Label, but
yeah, it makes no sense to me. From what this was first billed to us as, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, even actually largely reprinting any of the stuff to me doesn't make sense. Other than, I guess, you want to loosely go, okay, it's a label where the creators are kind of supposed to have their free reign to tell whatever story they want to. I guess within a degree, Watchmen's that way. I guess within a degree, All-Star Superman is that way. It was Grant Morrison doing his own Superman story, right? I mean, so I guess if you look at it under the loosest of terms, I guess this stuff still falls under it.
Isn't that what the Earth One books are?
I could talk my way into that. Yes, but those are Earth One books because those are, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make it. You're right. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. What was the point?
If they totally take away the whole creative freedom, pushing the boundaries,
right,
thing that they originally said Black Label was about, what's the point? Although Damien says, I read All-Star Superman to his daughter when she was 8. Had I known it was a dark adult book, I would have burned the book. Damien, are you messing with me?
Of course.
I don't remember All-Star Superman being a dark book.
Well, I guess Damien's assuming that all the Black Label books are dark books.
Yeah, I kind of thought that's what they were going to be too, to some degree.
Oh, I guess I didn't assume that, because I guess I wasn't going to assume that the Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez Wonder Woman or Amazon book was going to be dark.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I never assumed that was going to be the case.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's hard to say now. Who knows what the hell they're going to do with it?
I'm still curious to see how many of those books we actually see.
Yeah, exactly. I speaking of the Phil Jimenez Wonder Woman, I know he's working on it. I saw some stuff on Twitter from him about that, and he, praising working with Kelly Sue on the book. So, but then again, how many stories have we heard about stuff that were people? I mean, we even talked about it, I think, in the last news episode about something that was started and they canceled it. Right. Oh, yeah, it was the Chelsea Kane Vision part 2 thing.
Right. See, that's what I thought too. Damien is saying that he thought that they were supposed to be adult books.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. More adult stories. You could interpret that as dark or whatever, like I was. But yeah, I would agree with that, generally speaking. So yeah, Ghost Query said, are we saying there are to be no more characters within the Black Label umbrella? No more characters. I'm not sure what you're meaning there about that.
New stories, he means.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, right. It's right there. Sorry.
That's what I'm questioning. How many of that supposed
4
or 5 that they floated out there saying, "Hey, we're going to do this." Are we going to? I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's exactly why I put this on the list to talk about, because that's kind of my thought, was that they may not be doing any new stuff.
But the whole controversy didn't hurt sales, did it? I mean, did people just go, "Oh, forget it. If I'm not getting more Batwang throughout this book, I'm not getting the rest of the issues"?
DC, we give you more Batwing.
Well, I don't know.
Well, no, certainly. I mean,
I really liked issue 2 too. I thought issue 2 was awesome. So
I heard that first issue, that first printing, was going for like a bajillion dollars on eBay and stuff. So obviously people are wanting it. Yeah. I'm sorry, say it again. I didn't quite hear you.
Yeah, a secondary market for that book is crazy. So
yeah, I'll be interested to know, to find out if in 5 years, 10 years, if we're finding that first issue in like the dollar bins, or I guess down the road there'll be $5 bins.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Inflation. Okay. Moving on, Travis.
Sure.
Let's go. All right. So like I said, I've been so excited to talk to you about this, because Dark Horse has announced that March 23rd, only a mere 2.5 months from now, Travis, is Hellboy Day. How excited are you for Hellboy Day? What?
I mean, I like Hellboy. I like Hellboy. I like Hellboy a lot. I mean, I don't know. It's Hellboy Day.
I know. So I just even keel.
I just sucked all the fun out of that, didn't I?
I know you did. I have been anticipating this raucous discussion about Hellboy Day with you for 2 months, and you give me this.
But
thanks a lot, buddy.
But Hellboy hasn't been a whole lot lately, though.
Well, I know, but
everything about Hellboy is winding down, other than a new movie coming.
A new movie, 25 years of the character. Come on, that's a big deal for an independent publisher. This independently created character. Come on, man, you should be more excited about this.
Well, I would be if they weren't winding the whole thing down. I mean, that's my problem with it. It would be like if they told you they were literally going to retire the Batman character, and then this is his 75th year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we can celebrate the fact that 75 years, but you also know in X number of months there really isn't going to be anything else.
Okay, I get that. I do, but
okay. So that's where I am with it. I guess is that everything's on this wind down of them not really using the Hellboy and then the rest of the universe that much.
But do you think that they're not, because I honestly have not kept up on what's his creator's name? I'm blanking on it.
Mike Mignola.
Mignola, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because he hasn't been drawing Hellboy for a long time now, right? He's just been writing stuff.
Right. I mean, he occasionally. I mean, he did a few years ago. He was doing the Hellboy in Hell. It was all him. It was all him doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's when he decided he was retiring from comic books in general. He just wasn't going to do comics anymore. So he cut that story short. He got off of comics. They were going to start winding everything down. And then like 2 months in, he went, "No, I really love comics." And so he came back. And so he came back to comics. But like they're still going to pull the plug on the BPRD comic. It's still going to end. After they were going to end it, and they decided, no, we're not going to end it. Now they've decided they're going to end it again. and they're still going to do some, smaller Hellboy and the BPRD stuff, but just not with the same breath that they used to do it. So, I mean, so he's still always involved. If it's a Hellboy thing, he's involved. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm excited about it. I'm curious to see what, are they going to do anything really special for that beyond the movie? We've talked other Hellboy stuff recently that, of course, they're publishing in Playboy. I don't know. Some of the decisions they're making with that licensing, it's not friendly to me as a hardcore reader.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's definitely they're definitely in a transitionary period, right?
Mm-hmm.
With everything you just described. But there's a new movie on the horizon. Have you seen the trailer for that new movie?
Yeah.
Underwhelmed?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really hard. It's really hard because, and nothing against the actor who's doing it now. Perlman, to me, it just felt like that character was so nailed. Mm-hmm. So the way he delivered "aw crap" and the other classic kind of Hellboy lines and behavior, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will watch it. I will be in the movie theater to watch it, unless I see something else that just makes me go, "Oh, this is so wrong." Whatever. But something about Hellboy looks squished wrong, and I don't know what it is. I haven't. Do you know what I mean? It's like having the wrong artist suddenly draw a character that used to be done in a particular way, and then you have another artist come along and suddenly, and that's what it feels like when I see it on screen. Because I mean, I have in my head, right, what it looks like, and now there's enough different that he looks different, and so it's just weird. So I don't know.
Comic Crack in the chat here says, where is it? Don't you think everything is a marketing ploy, though, isn't it? Don't you think they'll bring him back? And so that's exactly where I was going with this, because, like I said, there's a movie. I'm sure stuff will continue to happen. It's just a matter of what it is. And I guess from the sound of it, from your description, how consistent the publisher is, or the creator. I don't know. I don't know who's holding the reins specifically here. I would assume Mignola has ultimate say in what happens there, but
right. You
just said that they were not going to do BPRD, and then they are going to do it, and then they're not, or something like that, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That seems odd that you would backtrack like that. I don't know. But yeah, I like you. I'll go see the movie because I like the concept of Hellboy. Even though this is the weird thing, I haven't read much Hellboy. I know Travis is like, you dummy.
No, it's awesome stuff. It's an awesome world.
I know that's why I've been excited to talk to you about this.
Right, and in Hellboy Day, yay! I actually like a lot of other stuff about the Mignola universe better than Hellboy.
Oh,
Hellboy is a thing in the universe, and he is cool and whatnot. I like the DC universe. Superman is a thing in the universe. I mean, he's a big player in it, but there's a lot of other really cool stuff. For me, that's how Hellboy is too. There's all these other casts of characters that are really interesting and intriguing, and this new movie is going to put some of those characters that I wouldn't have suspected to be on the screen ever are going to be on the screen, and that's intriguing and interesting to me and stuff. So I like Hellboy. Hellboy is cool. But he's really not the big stories himself. He really isn't. It's this the universe itself is a story, and that's where the really interesting stuff about the Mignola universe and pulled from the pages of Hellboy is the rest of that stuff. For me.
Has there been a Hellboy video game?
I don't think so.
If they made one and they played up that whole aspect of the Hellboy universe, how much would you want to play that?
I would own it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I haven't read a whole lot of Hellboy. I have 3 trades on my shelf that I need to read. So maybe I'll do that in observance of Hellboy Day coming in March.
There you go. Awesome.
Uh, okay, something that I'm excited about. Probably you are not, Travis, given your love of comic book events. But I just want to mention War of the Realms in Marvel Comics is coming.
This is how out of the loop I am. I wasn't even sure I even knew what this was until I read. I'm like, what is this?
So this has been a many years in the making thing that's come out of the Thor books, the Jason Aaron written Thor books, and it's been in the last not this current run of Thor comics, but the one before with spoilers if anybody hasn't read this, but Jane Foster as Thor, that started there and has been slowly building up and spilling out into the Marvel universe, and so then we're going to get this event in April, and so I have loved Aaron's run on Thor since almost the beginning, because I didn't pick it up at first, but then as soon as I read a few issues, I scoured every store. In fact, I found a bunch of them at the old Hastings that we used to have when they were doing comics there. Paid far more than I think I should have, but I wanted to read them, and have loved it ever since. Gotten all the Thor stuff that I can with Aaron at the helm. And so this whole War of the Realms thing kind of reminds me of my favorite comic book event of all time, which is Blackest Night, in that it started in a character's book and then, like I said, built up and spilled out into the larger universe. And so that I'm getting that same kind of vibe with War of the Realms, and I'm very excited to see what this is. However, the last time Jason Aaron wrote an event book, and I can't remember the name of it at the moment, I was very excited about him doing that too. I think it was not name escapes me. It wasn't. I didn't think it was all that great. So we'll see. Yeah, Comic Crack agrees. His Thor run is fantastic. And I forget. Did you read any of Aaron's Thor books?
I read the first arc when he first jumped on the book. I read that. I didn't read God Bomb, which I think is would be like the third trade, I think, of his stuff. Way before the Jane Foster stuff when he first started. Mm-hmm. I did not read any of the Jane Foster stuff, and I really need to.
Oh God,
because I hear nothing from anybody that it isn't just like fantastic. So yeah.
In fact, I think it's, other than the time, the past, present, and future Thor stuff that he did. Mm-hmm. I think the Lady Thor stuff is the much stronger work out of this so far, out of all of the stuff that he's done with Thor. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jack is here. Original Sin, and saying I really liked it. I thought it was okay. But anyway, Ghost Critic says, have you guys seen the drama surrounding the increase in the price of the first issue? Which issue are we talking about here? I don't know does that make sense to you, Travis? You know what that is?
No, I don't know. I don't know what
I'll keep an eye on that as we move on here.
The drama for it, as opposed to, originally solicited for $4.99, going to $5.99. War of the Realms.
Oh,
which that's typical Marvel, right?
That's true. Unfortunately, the question is: are we getting more for that dollar? Are we getting more pages?
You're going to get one more page, two more pages. God.
Do you remember that time I went on a rant about the price of Marvel Comics for 20 pages?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like doing that again. Okay. Moving on.
But you're going to get it because it's going to be like, I'm
going to get it because I'm a stupid.
So they can happily charge that price for it. I will happily not pick it up.
Maybe I'll wait for the trade. Probably not. Okay. I'm going to talk about some media stuff here. So I don't know. Whenever Grant Morrison gets brought up in the larger media realm, Travis, I always kind of try and pay attention, just because I'm really, I really like his work. He's one of my favorite writers, and so I've always been curious. How do you adequately interpret Morrison's work in other media.
Right.
And so, or maybe he's going to produce original content. I don't know, but he did in the point of November, sometime in November, he signed an overall TV deal with Universal Cable Productions to produce television shows based on his comic books. I assume his creator-owned stuff,
right,
as well as original TV projects. And all I could say, I guess, is I'm looking forward to seeing what the heck that is.
Or if we'll actually see anything, though.
Well, that's true.
There've been quite a few comic book creators here recently, it seems like, that have been penned deals with either this company or a couple other companies to create, from their content or create original content. And I don't think that we've actually seen a production of anything. I mean, both Kelly Sue DeConnick and Matt Fraction have both been hired by Universal in the past to do stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe their hands are in something that's out there and I'm unaware of it. But I'd be surprised just because I kind of watch them enough to know whether or not something would be coming out. I would assume they'd be saying something about it. So yeah, interested to see if any of that stuff actually, sees the light of day. But I mean, as hard as it is to get a comic book off the ground, it's clearly way, way, way harder to get television. I mean,
sometimes it takes years and years to get a project
out
to the public.
Right. And I mean, granted, I feel like there's more opportunity for this, for these kinds of creators who are maybe doing something that's a little different, to get something out there, because there's so many more streaming services. There's so many more, it's not just the big networks that are they're paying to have, stuff created now. So it feels like there's more opportunity for us to see something like that. I mean, like Netflix and Amazon, they're spending billions of dollars on original content and that sort of thing. So it feels like maybe there's a possibility we see that stuff quicker if we're going to see it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of, have you watched the new Deadly Class series?
Yes.
You have?
Well, I watched the first one because it's on YouTube. So I watched. It doesn't actually start until the 16th or the 19th of January.
Oh, okay.
It's when it's when it starts on Sci-Fi. But I have watched the pilot. The pilot is on YouTube. The Sci-Fi Channel has a YouTube channel, and it's on YouTube, so you can watch the whole thing. Yeah, I've watched it twice, actually.
Twice?
Yeah.
Because I don't do anything more than once.
Because I have all the free time in the world. I've watched it twice, and I will probably watch it a third time when it actually is on television.
Really?
I will watch it then, because then I'll watch it with the entire family. I've watched it with bits and pieces of my family. Yeah.
Is it that good that you wanted to watch it again?
It's not bad.
See, a resounding endorsement for Travis. It's not that bad.
It's exactly. Well, it's not that bad. I said it's not bad. No, I really enjoyed it. There's aspects of it I really like. It's really, really weird to watch, though. As somebody who is, been reading Deadly Class from the beginning, is definitely a very hardcore Deadly Class fan. It's a book that I remember most of the little things about it, the little plot points and stuff that goes on in the book. So the first 54 minutes of the show touch on stuff that happens like in issue 20 something in some cases of the comic. So it's just really weird to in the case of an independent book where the story is very defined, to now suddenly have another product coming out that's seems to be telling the same story, but it's telling it in a different progression. So it's just really weird. It's just really strange to see that. It's a really strange figure. So I watched the first time just to go, wow, well, this is cool. Oh, but that person looks exactly like. Oh, that's awesome music. There's great music in it. Rick Remender is heavily involved in it, so it really comes across as being his book, which I think is really cool. And then the second time I watched it, it was more of like watching it and going, ooh, wow, they pulled that piece in, and that piece is from, like I said, way in the future of the book. I mean, they're showing the rat skeleton in the box in the first 20 minutes of the show, and that doesn't show up until much later on that they're implied that they're rats. And I don't know, there's just aspects of it that make me
Spoilers, man. I've only read the first 2 or 3 trades.
Oh, so you haven't gotten to the end of the first year of school?
I don't think so.
Oh, you'd know.
Okay, then no.
Because it gets insane. But at any rate, so so like I said, it's cool. It's really cool. It's just really interesting trying to like I said, put the comic book brain away on it, so I'm not like going, spending all my time pausing it and going, when did that? And then starting again. Yeah. So.
I remember feeling similarly when I watched The Walking Dead, because I had read, I don't know how many trades before the series came, and they messed around with the timeline a little bit there too. I think based on your description of what they're doing with Deadly Class, I think The Walking Dead was perhaps a little more linear than that. They weren't jumping too far ahead. But then my daughter got into watching The Walking Dead. Well, not her, actually. She was the unhappy recipient, I think, because her husband was into it. And she was trying to, be a good partner and try to be interested in what her husband was, even though she wasn't. But so they would talk with me about it, and they would describe things that were happening in the show. I'm like, oh, you just wait.
Yeah.
Or I'd ask, has Negan showed up yet?
Oh, jeez.
So things like that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that may have debuted recently, you watched that first episode of Daily Class on YouTube. Just yesterday, this is timely. Just yesterday, I spent a good chunk of time in the late morning, early afternoon, watching the first 3 episodes of the new Young Justice Outsiders series, exclusively appearing now on the DC Universe app, because, yes, I did subscribe to that so I could watch Titans. And also, more importantly, Young Justice Season 3.
Right.
So I forget, you're not a subscriber to that service, right?
I am not yet. Once all of the Young Justice is out, I'll probably subscribe long enough so when I've got some free time, so me and the kids can binge watch that. I mean, because to get that cartoon back, to finish up whatever, we're excited about that. So
okay,
well, and then I'll watch the other stuff in between. So
okay, we'll definitely have to talk, because I'll be very curious as to your reaction for Young Justice. I mean, based on what I've seen so far of the first 3 episodes.
Right. Because I've seen some of your tweets about it. So
hopefully I didn't spoil anything for you.
No.
I tried not to, but because it's interesting. I will say this, because originally I put this on here because it was news that January 4th was the debut of the series, but we didn't talk about it in November. And so what I was going to say then, I'll say it now, was that the trailer for the series left me a bit whelmed. And if you know the Young Justice, Robin in Young Justice, you know what the importance of that word is. I was not impressed by that trailer, which I was like, oh no, they broke it. They broke one of my favorite animated superhero series of all time. But I will say that the first 3 episodes, it's better than the trailer leads you to believe. And I'll leave it at that. It was certainly nice, though, to revisit that universe after so long an absence.
I was gonna say that's part of it. All right, is just the having that much time between seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you recapture what you were doing before? And can you?
Exactly. And yeah, I can't wait for you to see it, because I have things to say about it, but I won't say them here. But anyway, but my question to you, past Travis, when we were going to talk about this initially, was Young Justice a reason for you to at least subscribe for the first free month that you get? And it sounds like that. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah. I'm actually I'm actually kind of dragging my feet, waiting until February, right? Because February was supposedly when Doom Patrol releases too.
Oh, that's right.
So I can try and get it all in at one time if I can. So.
Oh yeah, we definitely have to talk about the Doom Patrol episode of Titans for sure, because I think you would like it to some degree. You would appreciate certain aspects of it.
Okay.
So do you plan on watching Titans as well? Getting through those 10 episodes?
Well, I figured that once I've the app, I'm gonna try and watch as much of everything as I can. I mean, my priority is going to be, the Young Justice, book, cartoon for sure. Then I haven't decided whether I will just go to that episode of Titan so I can see the Doom Patrol piece before I then jump on, before I can, check out the actual Doom Patrol book or not. I don't know. So, or the actual Doom Patrol show. We'll see how that all, how I fit that all in amongst my busy schedule.
I know.
So.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about that with work, your own comic book videos that you do on YouTube, the gaming that you do, because I know you're trying to get through Red Dead Redemption 2. Our small group Sunday night things.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I mean, so where does the DC shows fall in comparison to like all the superhero shows that's on network television?
The CW stuff.
Yeah.
What do you mean? In tone, in production value? What
kind of all around? I mean, am I looking at the same basically sort of thing, except they can be edgier if they want to because they're not on network television? Or
I would definitely say they're edgier. I don't. It's not that kind of corniness that I associate with the CW shows.
Right. The extra drama. That kind of drama is not.
There's a little bit of that, but yeah, it's more. They're definitely going for more of a. Again, an edgier vibe, I guess.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. I was watching a couple episodes last night with my wife because I'm trying to get caught up on it. And I had to, mostly for her sake, but there was a lot of blood splatter in a couple episodes right next to each other. And so, and even by the end of that second episode, I'm like, I need to go watch something else.
Okay.
for a bit. So yeah, they're definitely going for that. But I think Titans in general has gotten better over the last few episodes. And from what I hear, people who have watched it and who have responded on Twitter to me, it gets even better. I don't know what that means yet. Maybe they like more blood than I do. But I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Cool.
And yeah, Jack here says Titans is definitely R-rated.
Okay.
I don't know about that. Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of the loop of what R ratings are nowadays. Probably. You're probably right. And also, Jack says DC TV has a multiverse, which I was going to point that out in regards to the Spider-Man discussion earlier on. I think Into the Spider-Verse definitely owes a bit of thanks to DC in terms of that whole multiversal thing. I just want to point that out.
Cool.
DC did it first, and I love that. Anyway, it's all good, though. It's all good. I don't care. Marvel can do it. Dark Horse can do it. Image can do it. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Give me more multiverse. I love multiverse stuff. That's all I want to say. Okay. A few more things media related. We talked about Grant Morrison. I thought this was interesting. Black Hammer. Again, who knows where we're going to see this, right, Travis?
Exactly.
Black Hammer has been optioned for film and TV development by Legendary Entertainment. I don't know. What do you think about this? Would you like to see Black Hammer on some screen, small, big, whatever?
Oh, it'd be interesting. I've really been enjoying that whole thing as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So they get away with stuff in the small print of Black Hammer. Do they get away with that on the big screen though?
I don't think there's really anything in Black Hammer though that could not easily be translated to a movie or TV series.
Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of like when the current Black Hammer is dimension hopping and ends up, in hell and stuff like that.
And some of that stuff, yeah.
And
maybe.
the whole Sandman family. I mean, I'm just how close it comes to.
Oh, I see.
to using DC or Marvel products. I mean, do you know what I mean? Do they get away with it because it's small? In the grand scheme of things,
right?
This Dark Horse book is small fry. The second you put it on the big screen, where it could be making millions of dollars, does it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could totally see DC maybe putting the brakes on some development if they get a little too close to their licensed properties. Yeah,
right. And the other thing, my other thought is. I mean, with the exception of like the Dr. Star miniseries, which really could be a standalone book and have nothing to do with the Black Hammer universe, and it still holds up really well as a story about a man and his son and that relationship and whatnot, which I thought was really excellent. How much of this book? I mean, how popular is this book outside of people who? To some degree, we aren't giggling over the fact that how close it is to this other stuff that is playing loosely with this whole world of comic books that those of us who are into superheroes kind of know. And we know that they're kind of, I don't know. Is that going to have big screen or even small screen appeal beyond a very small audience? We are not that big of an audience. I don't know what the sales are on that book, but we are not big enough for a television or movie audience. There's no way we are. And granted, there's going to be tons of people who watch all kinds of stuff who like superheroes. I went car purchasing last weekend, and the guy we got the car from was a confessed nerd because he watches all of the Marvel movies. And I'm like, and my wife is like, Travis collects lots of comic books. And he was like, huh? So, so I know it's out. I mean, clearly I know there are people who don't read that watch. So the audience might be bigger, but is it really bigger? I don't know. To me, it just seems, I mean, yes, I think it would be cool to see that stuff on, movies. No. There's too much going on, I think, for a movie, for it to work for a movie. But like a serialized show, yeah, that would be cool. But I just have a hard time. I don't know.
Well, I think to respond to one point of yours is that I think the quote unquote larger audience out there, beyond us fans who recognize the homages that are in that is Black Hammer. These are just new superheroes. These are different superheroes to that wider audience. And it does become a question of, is the audience saturated at this point?
Right.
Is there room for characters that are recognizable to some degree, perhaps, or at the very least, people see them. These are new superheroes. But do I care? Because I've spent the last 10 years watching the Marvel movies build up these characters in that story, and DC kind of, the Warner Brothers side kind of floundering a little bit. Is there room for these other things? I think so, but yeah, to what degree will this be taken? I think it will work very well, or can work very well, outside of even us, just us. Just it all depends on the story, right? And who they get to portray these characters, and the production values and all that stuff.
I don't even think the story matters to start with. There's got to be a reason to show up in the first place. Most of the stuff that's out there is even if you're not a comic book fan, if you know superheroes a little bit, you know that even if you don't know who Supergirl is, you know clearly Supergirl must be some derivative of Superman, and everybody knows who Superman is. You know, so I don't know. Black Hammer. I don't know I mean, other than obviously, you know, if the main character is a person of color, there's an audience for that. Nobody knows what that is, though. I mean, not even a derivative of what that is. So,
yeah, but I'm saying they don't need to know. They don't need to necessarily have.
Oh, there's you think there's a hungry enough audience for a different superhero show, like the thousands of doctor shows and cop shows, because we don't need to know. I mean, if it's a cop show, okay, we know it's gonna be a cop show, right? So you're saying that there's an audience for if someone just says it's a superhero show, they're going to show up because it's a superhero show.
I think that is what Legendary Entertainment perhaps is thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. Ghost Critic does say I've not read all of Black Hammer, but is there enough material for a TV series to begin with? I think so. Definitely a season. I could totally see like a Netflix type one season thing that they do with the story that they have currently.
Right. The stuck on the farm. How do we get off the farm?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then, you know, they could expand that if they wanted to, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh, one last thing before we move on to, I think, December news at that point. No, never mind. That's the fourth page.
Yes.
Netflix canceled Daredevil.
Wow.
No season 4 of Daredevil. And I will say I've only watched the first season, and it was great. All I've heard is how the third season was even better.
I am a third of the way through the third season right now, and it is really, really good.
Is it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what the hell? What if I mean, because you know, it seems to have garnered a pretty positive viewer and critical response. Why would you can't? Of course, that's the eternal question for anything that gets canceled on television, right? Especially things that get that kind of vibe. Why would you cancel Star Trek? Come on. So yeah, I don't know. Is this a bad thing? Is this a bad portent to come for the Netflix Marvel stuff? I mean, isn't the only thing that they haven't canceled now is Jessica Jones officially and
no, it's canceled.
Punisher?
Punisher, there is a season 2 Punisher because I've started seeing stuff coming for it. But my assumption is it's gone after this season. Yeah, and all of the Marvel stuff is gone then.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, I don't know how much that is foreshadowing of Marvel's going to attempt to do it on the Disney thing.
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying.
You know, how much of it is that? Were the other shows not successful enough, and Daredevil's getting too expensive? You know, are the actors asking for too much? There's all that, all that stuff. So, or do they really think that I just can't believe that, I just can't believe that it, has the Daredevil show at least has lost its energy in comparison to all the other stuff, unless it's so expensive versus how much it's watched, that it would not still be being produced. It just surprises me. So
yeah, I was very surprised when I got that news.
I wasn't surprised when Iron Fist was canceled, for instance. Okay, that seems to be everybody's least favorite of all of them, even though second season I feel like redeems the first season and sets up really, really cool stuff for a third season that we'll never see, which is a serious bummer. So that's a bummer. I hated the way that Luke Cage ended season 2. It left it in a very ugly place. It needs a season 3 to get that character out of the ugly place that he is in my opinion. So it's a bummer that all that stuff's kind of going away. So
Well,
and I won't be picking up, as much as I enjoyed all these shows, I will not be picking up a Disney streaming service. If I'm not getting a DC streaming service, there's no way in hell I'm picking up a Disney streaming service. So,
but Travis, you can watch Mickey Mouse and stuff.
Yep.
All right, Travis. There was a poll on DC Universe. This is apropos, considering that we just talked about, or we touched on Titans, and it's extremely timely because I just watched this episode of Titans last night. This is the episode that is titled Jason Todd. So hopefully, I'm not spoiling anything for you.
Okay, no, that's cool. I know. Don't worry about it, man. There's nothing you can talk about that's gonna like wreck that for me. So.
But so there is there was this poll on DC Universe. So as of November 26th, there was a poll. If you could rewrite the history, do you remember the voting for Robin, that telephone number that we could call?
Yeah.
So it says, if you could rewrite the history of 1988's Batman Death in the Family poll, would Jason Todd live or die? And I remember, we bought those issues, right? I did. You did too, right?
Oh yeah.
Did you participate in that poll?
I couldn't, because I lived in an old timey place where I had a rotary phone, and a rotary phone, you had to have a push button, and we didn't have a push button phone. So no, I did not vote.
Well,
and how would I have voted then?
Well, before we do that,
okay.
I didn't, because it cost, back then, boys and girls, when you dialed a 900 number, which I think that's what it was, it cost you money. They charged your phone bill for that, and my parents would not allow that. However,
how much was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I have to go. I have to pull out the issues and see.
I have to look, because it was more than a comic book, and I'm curious to know.
It was. If it wasn't, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
But so
my parents would have lost their minds too.
I know.
You
right?
did what?
Both of ours. But had I the opportunity, I would have voted no. At that time, I thought Jason Todd was not Robin. He was this other thing masquerading as Robin. But it was an interesting way to tell a story, to have a different dynamic between, pardon the pun, between Batman and Robin. So I would have voted no. What about you? What would you have voted?
I would have voted to have him killed.
Oh, of course you would.
Not because I hate the character. I mean, because he was. I have gone back and read a bunch of those recently as I was rebagging stuff and whatnot. So I kind of cruising through them. I appreciate those stories more now than I did then, just because whatever. But if I had to vote now, I would still vote to have him killed.
Really? So you,
as an adult, as a old man, I would vote to have him killed.
I would too, because, well, no, I wouldn't. I would not, because then we wouldn't have the stupid Red Hood character. Anyway, moving on. So you'd be in the minority.
Yes, I would be. I see that.
So that poll, as I said, November 26th, 27% of the people voted don't live, and 73% voted that he would live.
Is that just because, but way back in the day, only the cynics had money?
Maybe. Or the cynics. You're talking about the bloodthirsty.
Well, that's, yeah. Well,
angry people in the world.
I mean, and see, for me, I would vote to have him killed, because I think that's an interesting story that you, and is an interesting albatross for Batman to carry from this point forward. I think there's interesting stuff that can be said and told, and we would never get that if that didn't happen. Totally agree with that until they brought him back. They totally undermined that whole concept when they brought Red Hood into it. Jack agrees with me. Jack said, I voted for him to live. My parents were angry. So Jack, you were willing to risk the wrath of your parents there. Yeah.
That's good. That was brave of you. I was not that brave.
Yeah, I didn't want to be thrown out of the house over a phone call. So
I was already doing all the chores. What more could they do to me? So speaking of Batman, Travis, let's move on to the next one. Oh wait, Ghost Creek says perhaps having him survive would have changed Todd's outlook on being Robin. That's true. That's kind of what I was hoping for. That's what I wanted to see, but obviously we didn't get that. We got the better Robin after that. Right, Travis?
No, the worst Robin ever. Oh.
Sorry, I'm trolling Travis now.
Oh.
Speaking of Batman, so it was. I think it was in last. No, yeah. Was it December's previews where they solicited the Batman Flash crossover?
Yes.
The Heroes in Crisis tie-in thing.
Yes.
So okay, that was my question. So we're both getting the Tom King Batman, right? Mm-hmm. You're still getting that?
Yep.
I'm loving it. I think it's one of the best mainstream superhero tales that I'm reading right now. Will you be getting this little interlude, because Tom King's not writing those 2 issues of Batman?
Right. It's a break. The only reason this story is even in existence is because Tom King was off writing a secret TV thing.
Right.
It's the only reason this exists. This doesn't exist because it needed to be told. It's literally admitted filler crap. Yes, I am getting the Batman issues. I am not getting the Flash issues.
Whoa. Okay, wait a minute. Based on your initial reaction there, I would have said, okay, Travis is not getting these. That was a stupid question. But you're getting them?
Yeah.
Are you also getting the Flash issues?
No. I'm getting Batman issues just because it's, you know what I mean? It's the collector thing.
Okay.
100%. I will read them and be irritated as shit all the way through them. I can guarantee you.
See, I didn't. I did not order them.
Good for you. Good for you. You are the better man than I am.
No, because I regret it. because of the collector mentality that I have. But I'm trying to do a new thing where
I
cut it out if I don't like it.
Yeah, I am doing that with some books. I am just like, okay, but no, not they do it what I'm reading. No, not doing it. And then there's other books that I've been collecting for forever, and so.
Well, they're going to issue a trade of these 4 issues with, I'm sure, extra material to justify the $15.99 price or whatever. But so if I hear that it's it's good, I guess, or I'll pick it up there. Or maybe Travis, being the good friend that he is, might let me borrow those issues.
The Batman ones, sure. Because like I said, I'm not getting the Flash ones at all.
I don't care about the Flash.
I find it irritating as all heck. I mean, that's
the interruption, the lack of Tom King,
the interruption, the lack of it being Tom King writing it. I mean, I get that the dude needed a break, whatever. That's all I'm fine. But then basically telling me about it, I don't know. Just to me, it just admits that this was not a thought out story. Really, it was like, boy, this is looking rough. Like I'm not gonna be able to get this stuff I need to be done. Okay, let's call up Robinson and let him do another. I did not enjoy the
button.
That was horrible.
No, wait, was that was 4 issues too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. 2 of each. Yeah. And I bought the Flash issues for that.
I did too. And I think that's why I decided not to purchase
right.
all 4 was
right.
I was like, the button was like,
same creator doing another throw away something I'm supposed to, and there's just no way that is not going to feel incredibly disruptive for the story and tone that is currently going on in Tom King's thing.
Exactly.
Because it is
another reason why I said no.
Because it is clearly this, and there's just no way. There's no way. Even if you want to say that the Heroes in Crisis stuff has the same tone as the Batman thing, and I don't think it does. It's gonna be just completely disruptive.
I'm really surprised you're getting those issues, Travis.
Trust me, I went through the entire thing, ordered all my comics, and then went, oh Jesus, I'm gonna go back and get those just because.
All right.
And it may be a month of Batman I just don't read. So
wait, what? You're gonna get the issues but not read them?
I'll flip through them. I don't know that I'll actually read them.
Oh my God.
I know, it's horrible, isn't it? That's just the dumbest thing ever. Thank God I give them at a discount.
We need help, Travis. We need help.
Yep. Well, clearly you don't. You managed to.
No, believe me.
I'm sure Midtown Comics will have them on sale. They'll mail them to you.
That's true. Speaking of the button, Jack says, "Wasn't the last Batman Flash crossover a dud?" I would think so. And Carlos says the button was a lot of nothing.
Yes,
it was a lot of nothing. Exactly. 100%. Although I did really enjoy that one. I could find gold in anything, I think, because I really liked that one Flash cover featuring the Golden Age Flash, the Jay Garrick Flash. I love that cover. I thought it was a nice cover. Everything else about that whole thing, Okay. I was going to try and transition somehow into speaking of things that are ending, but that doesn't quite work. Oh yeah, I'm interrupting my Batman run. That's the connection here. It was recently, DC Nation, the magazine that we've been getting for free. If you ordered it from DC, it's ending. It's ended with the last issue, I think that we actually got. Mm-hmm. Did you read those? Did you get those and did you read them?
I ordered the first one and I just been getting them. I haven't ordered them. I don't click a button. I don't click a button anywhere. They just send them to me.
So that's something that our provider gives us. Okay, I couldn't remember if I did the same thing.
Yeah, it's just free material. Now, do I read them? No. They sit there and I go, oh, I'll thumb through that at some point, and then I don't. So
I do flip through them to see if there's anything interesting, and mostly what I have liked about them has been the small articles and interviews with creators about their craft. Everything else is, it's just it's just marketing. Here's this book, and here's this interview telling us from the creator why we should read that book. Well, I've already decided if I'm going to read that or not, most likely. Yeah. But the craft stuff I have liked. I just thought it was interesting that they're ending that, mostly because I wasn't sure why they were doing it in the first place.
Exactly.
What their goal was, what they were trying to accomplish with it. Because anytime we see a magazine like that, I mean, Image Plus was essentially the same thing. Did Marvel do one? Was Marvel doing one? I can't remember now. But
not that I remember. Yeah,
they all seem, they all get published for a while and then they quickly go away. So I don't know.
Well, here's my thing. To me, the DC Nation thing feels like the extra stuff that's loaded into my comic. Yeah, that back matter. There's no letters page, so there's always a back matter selling some other book in the back, right?
Read that one page that you're talking about that's in the back of DC books. Yeah,
right. That's either one or two pages that's back there, and occasionally something kind of like it. Some other advertisement mixed somewhere in the book that's advertising their DC books and whatnot. I mean, if they were going to continue the DC Nation book, I really wish they'd pull that crap out of the regular book, because to me they felt the same, and that's why I wasn't reading. I don't read either one. I mean, I skipped that page too. Generally, but so yeah, I don't. I mean, I get that they need to sell me their wares somewhere, because obviously, if they don't tell me about it, how do I know about it? But at the same time, I find all that irritating at the same time. So I don't know. That's why I don't.
Were you not a fan of back in the 80s when they had those one-page Daily Planet, promotional pages?
No,
you know what I'm talking about?
No. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and that was great, because it would give me an idea of what's coming, right? Of potential other stuff that's out there. We're in a completely different world now, right?
Sure.
That stuff back then, that was the only way you were ever going to know it existed, unless you went to a comic book store and the comic book store chose to get it in.
Well, that was even before comic book stores.
Right. But I mean, so that's the only way you would know, right? That's the only way you know something exists to even begin to look for it, for whatever that was. but we're in a different world now.
Right. So we don't need that stuff, you're saying.
Right. Well, I don't read digital comics. If you buy a current DC book, does it have that stuff in there?
Oh, good point. I don't know. Does anybody in the chat know about this?
Yes.
Speaking of the chat, Ghost Critic said, "Didn't Marvel try with Foom?" I think that's what I was thinking of. Was I swear that I got one issue of a relaunched Foom magazine from Marvel, and then I didn't see another one. And I don't know if that was just because I missed it and I had to actively get it, unlike the DC Nation one where I just seem to have gotten it in my order,
right?
Or if they just did one and that was it.
Yeah, because like I said, I ordered I remember the first DC Nation being on our thing to order. I remember it being a thing to order, and then after I didn't order it again.
You didn't add it to your poll list, your DCBS poll list?
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. Interesting. Anyway, so I at the very least, I'll be curious to discover what this relaunched DC Nation is, what its purpose is, how different is it going to be from what it was. Yeah. And Jack says Foom was a one shot. What was the point then? Why would they just do one thing like that? That was weird. I find these comic book magazine, promotional magazine type things interesting and weird.
Yeah.
All right, Travis, guess what?
How
long have we been recording?
we're finally to December.
Hey, we're only an hour and 20-ish minutes in. Wow. And we've gotten to the December 2018 news.
That's pretty good for us.
I know, right? Okay. I wanted to point out because I read this anthology and loved it. Jack says the Foom one shot was pointless. I agree. Anyway, I love this anthology, Travis. I don't know if you got this and read it, so I'm curious. Yeah. The IDW DC Comics Love is Love anthology. Did you get that?
I did not. I know, right?
Oh, dude, I'm gonna let you borrow that because I think you and especially your lovely wife would really like that book. Anyway, so this was the book that was published. It's unfortunately one of the it's one of those anthology series that has been happening recently in the last couple of years where comic creators get together and throw some work together, and then proceeds from the sales of those books go to helping others in some tragedy. And Love is Love was the response to the Pulse nightclub tragedy. And the reason I want to point this out is because it is, at the time that early December that I wrote this down, it has raised over $216,000 so far for LGBTQ charities. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's a great thing. I have been getting all of those kinds of charitable anthologies that have been published in like I said, the last year or two. The most recent one I got is the 24 panel. I think it's what it's called. This was to help the victims of that building fire in, I think it was London.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's the least I can do, as a comic reader, as a human being to contribute to somebody else, to help them deal with the tragedies that they've experienced, or their families. Anyway, I just thought it was really cool that that particular one has raised that much money. Mm-hmm. I know who says comics don't make a difference in people's lives, and like I said, I'll let you borrow it, but I encourage everybody to go buy it, help out a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Travis, we talked about this. We were looking forward to this next book, The Other History of the DC Universe.
Right. Well, it goes just like the last time we did one of these, didn't we talk about our debate on do we pick it up or not pick it up? Because it was going to be prose with pictures or whatever it was going to be. Uh-huh.
Yes. And who knows if our attitude was mirrored with other people out in the buying world, but we received news that series will be resolicited at a later date. Uh-oh.
Full disclosure, I did ultimately order it.
You did.
Talked about whether we were going to get it or just wait for it to be all one thing.
Yep.
I did. I decided, no, I'm going to get the first one at least just to get an idea of what it's like. But my order didn't count, obviously. Or didn't count enough.
Well, I think it was you that pointed this out to me on Twitter, I think, or text or something, and I'm like, oops, it's all my fault.
Yep, because you didn't order it.
I did not pre-order that first issue. I was going to wait for the trade, but that's too bad. I still want to see this. I want them to publish it. I think the ideas sound. I like the concept. I really want to read these stories.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I need to. If they resolicit this, I need to pre-order the individual issues. Yep. So, anyway. We talked Spider-Man up at the top of the show. Here's another Spider-Man related story. What do you think about this, Travis? They're going to come out with a series. I think it's a limited series, Spider-Man Life Story, where they're going to tell tell stories about Spider-Man, but told in real time. So they're going to start off. So Spider-Man first appeared in. Oh gosh, 1962?
62 or 63, my guess.
Yeah, I think it was 62. But apparently they're starting with the first story is going to be focused on Spider-Man during the Vietnam War. What do you think of this turn of events in Spider-Man publishing history? Is this something worthwhile? Is this, what are we going to get out of this?
Right. I guess it depends who the creators are. I mean, that'd be my first thought as to this is either going to be really corny and really bad, or I don't know. I find it. I just think that's such a hard story. So he doesn't get drafted, or does he get drafted? If he doesn't get drafted, it's real easy to kind of walk around the edges of it. I mean, if Parker gets drafted, then it becomes a whole different kind of complicated thing, doesn't it? I mean, how does Superman? I mean, how does Spider-Man? I don't know. Like I said, I would be really curious as to who is making it. I mean, I might be interested in actually reading that, but that's such a serious subject.
Right.
And I don't, I mean, not to say there aren't serious stories of Spider-Man, because clearly there are. But largely that's not Spider-Man's strong point. Not that kind. I don't know. I mean, I guess I hadn't heard of this until I saw you post this up on it. So
this, just so you know, Travis, this is written by Chip Zdarsky and
really?
Mark Bagley on art. And it is a 6-issue limited series.
I'm not a Bagley fan, but
yeah, I'm not either.
And I don't know. I love Chip. I don't know if I trust him on that though.
Yeah. So just to clarify, the beginning of the story, for issue number 1 for the Vietnam story, the year is 1966. So. If they start with him becoming Spider-Man in 62, as he was in publication history, he's been Spider-Man now for 3 to 4 years.
I might pick that up. 6 issues. I may pick that up because 6 issues isn't like some crazy financial commitment that that I somehow wrap my head around thinking that I'm going to be stuck reading something for a long time. So I may pick that up just out of curiosity's sake to see what they're gonna.
Ooh, but it's at $99.
It's what?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I'm not picking it up then.
I don't know. I actually don't know what the price is.
If it's $7.99, like no, I'm out.
Sorry,
just that quickly.
I was just joking, folks. Just joking. Yeah, I think it can be very interesting to see. I like this whole idea of telling the stories and or having the characters age through time.
Yeah.
That was something that I did, many years ago. I used to write my own superhero fiction, and that was one of the things that I did in my stories and always wanted to see in comic books was to see these characters age and adjust as they became older and why they did what they did. Anyway, I like this concept, in other words, and so I'm very intrigued by this.
Yeah.
I don't, like you said, I'm not a big Bagley fan, so that's kind of a big minus in my mind. But
right. Same.
And I also haven't read a whole lot of Zdarsky with him writing. So I don't know. Have you?
Not tons. I've heard good stuff about some of his stuff.
Yeah, it's just I've heard good things too, but I've actually not experienced it.
Yeah, he's taking on Daredevil too, right?
Exactly.
So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try the new Daredevil when he gets on the book. We'll see. But like I said, 6 issue, as long as it's not some crazy price tag on it. Now that you mentioned that, but I'll probably give that a look. Or when it gets closer to time to actually order it, I'll, take a closer look at it then too. So,
yeah, I was trying to see when. Oh, in March.
Okay.
In March, so that means, yeah, it should be next month's. No, this month's previews, January's previews.
January's previews. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll both have to take a look at that. We talked about Black Hammer before. There's a new, and you mentioned the good Dr. Star tie-in spinoff. I don't know what the right terminology there is for that book. Before we move on to that, Damien says Zdarsky's output is very up and down in his experience. Some good issues, then some big mez. Okay, stop saying that. I'm curious. I want to read more of his stuff just to find out. I tell you what, based on reactions online, what was it? Was it Peter Parker? He was writing the Peter Parker Spider-Man book.
Yeah.
Spectacular, yes. All I've heard is how issue 310 is like crazy good for people who love Spider-Man. So I don't know.
Right. And I heard that is it Marvel 2-in-1?
Oh, right.
Was really good, and he's kind of set the groundwork to bring back the Fantastic Four, and questionably why wasn't he writing the Fantastic Four when he did the groundwork for it, kind of a thing. So yeah,
exactly. Okay. Anyway, let's see here. We talking about Black Hammer, Dr. Star. There's going to be a new miniseries showing us the golden age of that universe. But it's co-written by Ray Fox with art by Matt and Charlene Kent.
Right. I know the Kents. Like the Kents.
You're a fan of the Kents, right? What about Ray on writing duties? I can't remember anything offhand that Ray's written that I know of.
So he got the notorious duty of writing those few issues when they briefly fired Gail Simone off of Batgirl.
Okay.
He wrote some Constantine work. He's written some independent stuff that has been really good, and he's written some independent stuff that I cannot tell you what the hell it was that I read. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so this is the first thing that's not been actually written by Jeff Lemire. I mean, co-written. What does that mean? Does that mean he's giving Ray a loose plot and then they're playing with his characters? That's not the same. Right. So I will check it out. I am not terribly excited because of that.
Yeah, that makes me a little nervous as well. But delving into the history of the Black Hammer universe is something I'm very interested in, especially after reading the Dr. Star miniseries, because that touches. I'm sure Dr. Star will be part of this because that would be part of the quote unquote golden age era.
Right.
That some aspects of that story was that. So I think it can be interesting. I Black Hammer to me is I've said this before, but it's essentially a love letter to DC's Silver Age, and they have touched on a little bit of Golden Age stuff before. So I'm interested in exploring the earlier era within that universe.
Oh, I am too. I just wonder because it potentially does not have the same voice as everything else has had. So.
And I feel like I think I'm in Jack's boat here, who says, love Matt Kindt writing, but art makes me hesitant. I actually don't care for Matt Kindt at all. I know that makes me probably not as well liked, but because I know there's a lot of Matt Kindt fans out there, including yourself.
Right, and I like him, and I like his style of art is its own thing. Well, to some degree, it also reminds me of Jeff Lemire's art.
Yes. Yeah.
They're all, kind of this, and to some degree, Ray is the same way. They're all kind of the same school of comics. They're all friends. I think they're all Canadian. So them all teamed up together as far as they as a working group makes all kinds of sense. It's not like they've randomly grabbed some weird person from someplace and whatever. To me, it is. I just wonder how different the voice is going to be if Lemire is not actually writing it. So, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Moving on, Ms. Marvel. So I can't remember if we talked about this before. Ms. Marvel, G. Willow Wilson was stepping away from Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, it wasn't official the last time we talked about it. It was more of a, is she, my question was,
That's
is
right.
she actually leaving? At the time, there was nothing that told me that she was gone, just that she's clearly going to be writing Wonder Woman.
Right.
I mean, that was the end of her doing Ms. Marvel, which it is.
Yeah, so she has definitely been stated officially that she is leaving the book, but it will return in 2019 under Saladin Ahmed and Minkyu Young, I believe. And the takeaway line for this is that they want to level up her role in the Marvel universe. So I don't know. Ms. Marvel is one of those things in Marvel comics, but comics in general, where all I hear is, "This is such a good book. This is such a interesting character," and I've read very little of her. The most I've read of Ms. Marvel has been in the Champions book, and not her own title. So this news, while interesting to me, has no real impact because I'm not buying the book. But my sense is I should be buying this book. Are you getting Ms. Marvel at all, or have been?
Yeah.
I think you had.
Yeah. I have every
You're
issue.
Still getting it?
Yep.
Okay,
And I'm getting this when it comes out.
Okay.
Not just because of like loyalty to character, sort of a thing. I do love the character. She's a fun character. But the people who are taking over, I think, are going to be good people to take over. I really like his writing. I'm now at the point where, with the exception of Exiles, any book that he has announced that he is on, I am trying. Just because I really liked Black Bolt a lot. And then he put out an independent book, Abbott, that I really liked a lot. So I am, I'm on board for trying whatever. He's got really good emotional beats and whatnot. He's a Muslim American on top of that. So he's taking over a Muslim American character. So I would assume we're going to continue to get to read an experience of a high school age Muslim American person, operating in the United States. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in that as a story, partially because it's not my world at all. And so I am using Ms. Marvel as a small window into a piece of that world. It's not like it is like the comic book is buried in the trappings of of a Muslim American person, but it is an aspect of her life. And so I like that. It's interesting. It is very much a early, fun Peter Parker Spider-Man book. It's the same sort of a thing. She's this young superhero still trying to figure out not only how her powers work, what her role as a superhero is supposed to be, but also as a young adult, what that's supposed to be, her relationship with her friends, her relationship with the greater Marvel superhero universe, her being a fan of superheroes first and now being a superhero. All those kinds of things are just awesome and fun. Do I think the book is as good now as it was like the first 2 or 3 trades? No. It's lost some of that charm that those first issues had, and that may just because the same writer's been writing it for, I don't know, 50 or 60 issues now. And so we're kind of running into what's next. And some of the stuff that they're some of the subjects just aren't interest to me personally as a as an old guy. Some of the dating stuff is not as interesting to me, but I would assume that it would be more interesting to younger people that read it, and that's cool. I know that not every story about it is written for me and whatnot, but there's still enough about it that I love. And I'm curious to see somebody fresh jump on the character as a solo book. So I'm on board. But there's just a lot about the book that's a blast. My daughter, I bought the first trade for my daughter. She absolutely loved it. So I need to get.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, I need to get the next one for her. There's just a lot of really fun stuff in it, especially like I said, the beginning as she's feeling stuff out and whatnot is a lot of cool stuff in there. So
I do have the first trade. I just haven't read it yet. Mm-hmm. And so I think you and I have talked about it before, how your daughter has read it mm-hmm. and responded to it. And so that makes me want to also share it with Madison as well. Mm-hmm. So Sleepy Reader said something that I was thinking as well when we were talking about when I mentioned the whole leveling her up in the Marvel universe, Ms. Marvel. I agree with, sorry. A leveled up role in the universe is just about never a good thing. And that's kind of what I was thinking too. Yeah. But I mean, they've already been doing that in the Champions book mm-hmm. and having her also appear in the Avengers title as well briefly. So I mean, they've already been doing that to some degree. So I think, they're just going to continue that in some way. So,
well, she is potentially the next Wolverine, I think, character-wise.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty bold statement.
I think that character is going to be around and will slowly be in everything. I mean, name another character in the last, 50 years that's a new created character that has the same kind of weight. There isn't any, really. I don't think, as far as like the Marvel universe, it's Wolverine. Wolverine's the next big thing, and there hasn't been a big thing. I don't think, not that kind of level. And I think this is. Because I think this is the next generation, not us old white guys, but the next generation. It's their thing. She ticks way too many cool boxes for the millennial stuff. And I think as soon as they start putting her in more other media type stuff, she's just going to be that much bigger. Hell, you can go and buy Halloween costumes for a character that's been around for 50 issues. Really? To me, that blows my mind.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And did speaking of her appearing in other places, wasn't there a cartoon maybe on one of the Disney channels?
I think so.
Featuring Marvel superheroes in which she has appeared?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I need to go find that and check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, this next item, Travis and I debated about whether or not we were going to talk about it, but we are. There was a book here recently that I heard was just fantastic. And I did not order it, but Travis did mm-hmm. and has been reading it. But then something happened behind the scenes with the creator of this book. And what I'm talking about is Border Town. This is a Vertigo book, right, Travis?
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Do you want to? Okay, let me back up here. So, just let people know. So, Bordertown issues 1 through has 4 come out?
Yes, I want to say it has. Yeah.
So got 4 issues. 5 and 6 had been solicited, but have been recently been canceled because the art team departed the title. And DC Vertigo has made issues 1 through 4 returnable as well because of the controversy surrounding the creator Eric Esquivel. And are you up on that, Travis? What's the short version of what's going on there?
Eric Esquivel basically is kind of I don't know what word I want to use. So he it's reported that he well, I guess it's not debated. I mean, it is fact that he sexually abused some people.
Well, or harassed at the very least.
Okay. And it came to light. A person had posted writing about it, didn't name him at the time, but basically made every indication that he was the one that had done it. I believe there's been other reports since then of others. I believe that he issued a statement on it that didn't hold a lot of weight. And once it was found out, then the rest of the art team, the artist who I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, and the colorist Tanner Bonneville said that they were done, that they were not going to do any more work on it, and then the book was canceled. Now, you say it was canceled because the art team left. Is that I've never seen a statement from DC saying this is why it's canceled. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the actual. Clearly it's a original book, and so if you lose your creators on it, it's then hard to go forward. I don't know because, like I said, I've never seen an official statement from anybody at DC or Vertigo as to why it's canceled. We're kind of making assumptions. Is that right?
Yeah, you're correct. This I got this from an article at Newsarama, and the first paragraph says DC Entertainment has apparently canceled its Vertigo imprint titled Bordertown following the departure of its art team, Ramon Villalobos and Tamara Bonvillain.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It being, I think the whole thing is curious from the standpoint of if DC canceled it because it's too much of a hot potato. This guy was going to be writing Nightwing, is my understanding. So I'm assuming we're not going to see those Nightwing issues now that he was co-writing or whatever. And I'm just, so if DC canceled it, why? I mean, was it easy to cancel because it's this independent book? Versus if he had already been writing Nightwing for a long time, would he be out of a job? Would DC have actually done that? I mean, and then that would be a new thing for DC because they have held on to other.
I was going to say their track record with this is not good.
They're call them whatever you want to, sexual predators or whatever you want to call them. They've hung on to some of those other people until it becomes national media level. Eddie Berganza, for instance, has a huge track history as, a editor for the Superman line of books and whatnot for years and years. And it finally took him being part of a large Me Too movement type thing to remove him from work. So was it just easy? I mean, was the excuse, the art team's gone, so we're just going to cancel the book as opposed to find a new art team? I mean, it's a Vertigo book, so it's a book that DC has an investment in. They own part of it for X period of time. It wasn't worth them finding other people, or they assumed they couldn't find other people to do the work.
Or or are they just now a lot more sensitive to these accusations and not wanting to be associated with that kind of stuff?
Well, I hope that's their new take on it, that they decide to start holding people, that there are consequences for actions. Now, do you lose your job over actions? I don't know. From your past, clearly you do, or at minimum, you need to, I guess, come clean and have some level of accountability for your actions. And to me, what I read didn't sound like there really was any. It was society's fault, not his fault. So,
well, the really interesting thing to me about this was the art team quitting once this information got out,
right?
As opposed to DC Corporate's response of canceling the solicitations and making the first 4 issues returnable.
Right. They made it easy for DC.
Yeah, exactly. And perhaps, this is just total speculation on my part, giving some weight behind the accusation, I guess, some sort of at least solidarity with the accuser or accusers in this case. Mm-hmm. So it's a very strange time we're living in terms of the Me Too movement and creatives being in having.
So here's part of the thing I see, especially in this case, and that's why I'm curious to see going forward what DC as a corporation does, because this was an easy book to drop. I mean, for a number of reasons. One, the book is lauded as being as great as it is and whatnot, because of course it is extremely diverse. It is very liberal. It takes lots of shots at conservative America, conservatives of America, and the kind of the conservative lens of seeing stuff and whatnot. It takes plenty of shots at that. So I'm assuming its audience that lauds on it being great is this very what people might consider a liberal audience. So clearly, I would assume that the Me Too movement and all that kind of stuff falls within that category of that sort of progressive thought or whatever, as we drift into politics as opposed to comics. So the book's not going to sell because nobody's going to go freaking buy it, because that group of people who are like those kinds of books have been very vocal to say, I'm not spending my money on douchebags. And this guy, all reports say he's a douchebag. We're not going to spend our money here. So you just lost your audience. Your target audience just walked away from the book. Easy to drop because it's not a corporate book, So
are you suggesting that?
So in my mind, if this guy had been writing a year's worth of Nightwing or whatever, would he be fired? Would he suddenly be off of Nightwing? Or would they just kind of quietly keep rolling the book along, and if the sales got hurt bad enough, then they'd maybe think about putting somebody else on the book? But because of what this... go ahead.
Yeah, I think it would also depend on if the sales of that corporate-owned entity were really good or not.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean that really shouldn't be a factor. If the person doing the work is guilty of some crime, you should not be allowing them to continue working for you.
Right.
But again, that's assuming guilt is established as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's, like I said, I guess this was easy, in the sense that I think the core audience walks away from this book as much as the art team walked away from the book. And a Vertigo books don't get huge numbers anyway. Even critically acclaimed books don't get, and I scratch my head at the critically acclaimed part. If we want to just talk comic books, it was a fun comic book. Was it like, I don't know what other people were reading differently than what I was reading.
But I will say, not, as someone who has not read it, the buzz was that, there was a buzz about the book that I encountered.
And I don't understand that. That's what I'm saying is I don't understand the buzz behind it. A pat on the back for, the diversity, the cast of characters, some of that kind of part of it. For me, there's some craft issues with the pacing and writing of the story. I enough so where I read it and go, I like these elements, but there are these things there. I mean, I read some comics and I don't even think about it. They are. I read it. And other times I read comics and I go, I really like this part, but this is a problem. And for me, Borutown had those in it. They had parts of them like, okay. So I don't understand. I can understand the diversity and representation buzz, if that's what the buzz is. But this is a guy whose name was at the top of Writer of the Year, end of the year lists of our favorite writers. His name was towards the top of some of that stuff. And I don't understand. I don't understand how that would happen because I didn't see it personally for me.
Yeah, it's just definitely an interesting situation at the very least. Unfortunately,
but clearly, DC must be backing it canceled at some point. If it's true that they are letting people send the books back.
Oh yeah,
and get
exactly.
Money back.
Yeah.
So
I mean that's the other. I was going to say the other interesting aspect of this is that they're allowing the first 4 issues to be returnable. That seems to be like an implicit recognition of the situation.
Because otherwise,
not in Mr. Esquivel's favor.
And I think that's great but that would be those might be tough issues to sell on your shelf at this point. Them sitting there
in the shops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Travis, we're at the home stretch here. The last couple things I just want to mention as we end this episode of Breaking Late News for 2018 information. There are 2 books that are ending. One of which I put on here just because you're a big fan of the character and just wanted to get your feedback. And then another one we'll talk about after that. But Green Arrow ends in March with issue 50.
What the hell? Yeah, well, I didn't even know that until I read the thing. No, I hadn't seen it anywhere. I mean, I know the Benson sisters off it. A new person's taking over one. And I read that, I'm like, what? Because I don't read the solicits. And I've been busy enough, quite honestly, through the holidays that I haven't been paying that close attention to tons of the news kind of a thing. So yes, it was, and now I'm seeing that they're going to, do some really big stuff as it rolls into it ending at 50.
Yeah. This is a quote, very cool, very wild plans coming later.
So when they say coming later, does that mean that, in some way the book's going to get relaunched? Do you remember back? Do you remember back when Dan Didio was saying that he was swearing that Green Arrow was going to be one of the, one of the backs that carries the DC universe? And I was all excited because I'm like, yeah, here's my favorite character, and he needs a more important role and whatnot, and then it really wasn't.
Was that somehow tied into the fact that we had the Arrow TV series? Was that just
I think it was even before. This would be almost pre-52 is when he first started saying that.
Okay.
And they said that, and then they made kind of a mess out of him there at the end of things before the New 52, and then of course they wrecked him in all the ways they did in the New 52. So
sans the sisters, right?
Right.
Their contribution, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, so here recently they've been working at moving Ollie back to more, in some cases, what made him, in my opinion, the great character that I liked so much way back. I mean, there's still problems, in my opinion. I like Oliver being an older guy who's experienced more stuff and continues to have his faults, but has some level of wisdom along the way. Current Green Arrow doesn't have that. I mean, he's a young guy, and so he hasn't experienced everything yet, so he has to experience it. So in a lot of cases, he's a freaking idiot kind of a thing. But What's next? I'm curious. I mean, like I said, I love the Green Arrow character, but I've been disenfranchised with the Green Arrow character for a lot of years now, and I haven't been collecting it consistently. As new people come on that sound like they might be doing something different, I pick the book up again and then drop it again because ultimately there's still elements in it that don't work for me. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to tie this back to our earlier discussion about Young Justice, there's at least a scene, a meaty scene for Green Arrow in one episode that you might appreciate.
Cool.
And then finally, I want to mention Paper Girls is ending in July with issue 30. Are you still getting that title, Travis?
Oh yeah. When it comes in, it's top of the list of things to read.
Really? Yeah. I mean, so that was a book for me that started out very strong, and there was a point where I was considering dropping it, and then Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chiang. There was one issue. I can't remember what it was now, which one it was, but it's like they did something, and it was like, oh my God. I have to keep reading this, and it's just been like that ever since. So I've been really enjoying that series, but I have to say I'm not surprised that they're ending, around with issue 3. I'm not surprised that this isn't going to continue on. It just seems like, I mean, Vaughn's a great writer, so he could come up with a lot of different interesting things for us to read for a long time. But I guess what I'm saying is, I've always felt like Paper Girls seemed like a limited series concept, not something that could go on and on and on and on. So I'm not surprised, I guess.
And you aren't the only person I've heard say that. And for me, I always thinking, that with it, the time jumping and whatnot, the book could go on for forever.
Of course. Yes, exactly.
Whether it should or not, that's, another question. I mean, now knowing, so here's my problem. And part of me wishes I did not know that it was ending in 30 because now I start thinking, the would-be writer in me or whatever. Okay, we're at this issue. We're ending at 30. It's like knowing how many episodes of something's left if I'm watching television too. I start to think, okay, they're going to start wrapping this up. Here's my clues. This is what, I mean, to some degree it wrecks it for me in that I can see stuff because nothing's new. You can see stuff coming, and I like to not see it coming. And so if I don't know when it ends, I mean, I get into it with my family over watching Netflix shows because they'll turn to see how many episodes are left. Where I'm like, don't do that, or at least don't do it in my presence because I want to know how many there are. I just want to watch it.
You like the surprise?
Done. Yes, when it's just done, it's done. Not. I know they've got to wrap up all this stuff in X amount of time. Just don't, or do whatever kind of thing. So, I'm not going to let that wreck the book for me. I love this book. I love the characters. I love those girls. They're awesome. I love the future versions of some of those girls are just hilarious. The era that these people come from and some of the eras that they've bounced into, I find hilarious that they've picked up along the way. I dearly love Cliff Chiang's artwork. I'm not sad to see it go, because it's its own thing and it's done its own thing. And this is the plan. It's not like it got canceled before its time or that sort of thing. I don't think that's it. I don't think sales are an issue or whatever. And I almost really have this, then we're going to take a year plus off Saga and who knows what it's going to be when it comes back kind of a thing, Right. So there's a lot going on in the book right now. I'm excited for all that stuff that's going on. So, what happens at the end of it? I am curious to see what that ending is going to be.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Yeah, it's been a great surprise, I think, that book. And I think going forward, that's going to be one of those books where people will discover later and discover what a great concept, what a great story it was. And they missed out reading it as it was happening.
Yeah, serialized. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Travis, that's all I have. All the news that's fit to within, just now beyond 2 hours.
Yeah.
for the end of 2018. Is there anything else you would like to add before we go?
Nope.
Okay.
It was an interesting year of comics, and I'm sure that 2019 will be interesting too. So
yeah. I'm looking forward to our future discussions. I have some ideas for things that I would like to discuss with you beyond the news realm, Travis. So I'll be talking to you about that soon.
Right.
All right. So as I mentioned earlier, Travis does his own videos on YouTube about comic books. Travis, why don't you remind folks that are in my podcast feed where they can find you if they'd like to watch you talk about comics?
So head over to YouTube and just type in Oddfellows Thoughts. Make sure you get all of Oddfellows Thoughts in there. Otherwise, you end up with a semi-secret society. And check me out if you like.
You got to stop promoting them because I think people might be actually seeking that out instead of you.
Yeah. Could be. That's cool too. Whatever.
All right. Well, and I would like to say thank you to everybody who joined us live on Google Hangouts and provided comments and commentary and feedback as well. So thank you, everybody. And thanks everyone here for listening and watching the video, as it were. If you have comments you would like to send me about this news or any of the commentary that Travis and I have offered, especially Travis, you can always leave comments below the video or the post at longboxreview.com. You can also email me. I've only been doing this forever, and I still get tongue-tied on that. Email me at longboxreview@gmail.com, or you can look me up on Twitter and comment there at longboxreview. So again, as always, thank you everybody. Thanks for joining us, and I guess we'll talk some other news later, Travis.
Awesome.
All right, take care. Bye, everybody.